All right, and we are back. On Friday, I did predict that the Reds would sweep the Guardians. To be honest, I was just trying to throw out a hot take just to distract people from the Hairgate.
That's right.
Hairgate
people
was bad.
They seem to have forgotten the Hairgate, or at least their subconscious had to wipe it from their memories.
Well, between the tiny TV, the Reds sweeping the guards, Will Benson, there was a lot that happened between Hairgate and as we kick off the show today. So there you go. All right, but in all seriousness, look, that's what's. I think the sweep of the Guardians kind of pisses me off more than anything because, and this is maybe what you're saying, maybe not, but it's like, why is it you could do that? Why? I'm almost angry that you swept the Guardians because it's like that team exists. The capabilities of this team exist, and this is why when we did our buy or sell on Friday, one of the buy or sells was the 2025 season is over. I said, as long as the Reds are continuing to get the pitching that they are getting, I can't sit there and close the casket on the season. I can't say that the season's officially dead because they are getting that pitching, and all it takes with that pitching is to get semi-complimentary hitting. Not top 5 hitting in baseball, probably not even you probably want top 10, but you know what I mean, especially consistently. But I said, as long as you're getting that pitching, you get any kind of just even average run support, this team's going to be in position to win a lot of games throughout the season, or a lot more games than what they've won up to this point. And sure enough, they get that great pitching over the weekend, great performances. I think the save for Pagan yesterday was probably the most impressive one when you look at the fact that it was kind of a bump. He didn't look his best. I don't think he looked his best out there yesterday, and he was able to pitch out of a jam. Same thing, yesterday, Abbott didn't look good to start. He walked some guys early. He pitched himself out of a jam. I think that when the Reds are pitching like that and you're getting hitting and you're getting complimentary run support, they're a tough team to beat, and we saw that over the weekend. That's why I can't say that the season is dead. But it's also frustrating because you beat it. You don't just beat the guards, you sweep the guards. You sweep the Guardians, but you're coming off of dropping 2 or 3 against the White Sox. Talk about the Marlins series. That's why I'm not going to jump on your case, Elliot. I'm not going to say that you're wrong because we're basically saying the same thing. Every point that you're making is correct. They should beat those teams. How do you go and sweep the Guardians? It's kind of hard for me to put a ton of stock into sweeping the Guardians when I've seen more examples of you coming up short against teams like the White Sox and others. So I love what we saw over the weekend. I'm going to remain positive moving forward, especially into this Pirates series. Another opportunity to beat up on a team that they should beat up on, a team that they've already beat up on just a week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was they played them last. Bottom line is, that's a good thing that happened over the weekend, but it is tough for me to sit back and act like the White Sox and the Marlins and other stuff hasn't happened already to this point.
Do you trust them?
I don't trust them. I trust the pitching. That's why I said on Friday I don't think the season's dead. I trust the pitching. But I don't trust Will Benson. I don't care. Everyone's drooling over him right now. Great. We can get into him in a second. But I don't trust Will Benson. I don't trust the Cincinnati Reds right now. I just don't.
Casey, do you trust him?
I don't trust Will Benson. There's a reason his first time coming up this season, he struck out 4 times in the first game and then got sent right back down. They don't trust him either.
Pearl, do you trust them?
No.
Them being the Reds.
Oh, the Reds? They got to prove themselves.
Exactly.
I don't trust Benson, though. He's too inconsistent, and he always has been.
Nobody trusts the Reds, and you can sit here and say you do. You can sit here and say that they're going to have some momentum after beating the Guardians. They did this song and dance last year. We've seen this. Mm-hmm. They swept the Yankees, and then what happens? You come home and then you get swept by Detroit, and then you lose to the Nationals, and then after the All-Star break, and you lose to the Marlins. We've done this song and dance for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. I know how this story is written. You can try to say it's not over, and for the record, they're 24-24. Mathematically, it's not over. It's more than alive. The Reds are absolutely in control of their own destiny. If they want to run away with a terrible, absolutely terrible NL Central, they have that in them. They can try to do so. I know better. I know better. This is fool's gold. As for Will Benson, I actually do trust Will Benson. Will Benson is a guy that, sure, is he gonna lead this team to a World Series? No, but I think he's better than the options that you were running out, and that's part of the reason why I'm still not as excited. Kinner said we should be more excited about a sweep of the Guardians. You had Rhys Hines and Will Benson rotting away in AAA for what? So we could see more at bats from Blake Dunn. How many games do we have to watch Blake Dunn not contribute? How many games are we going to sit here and watch Jacob Hurtubise not contribute? When a team that struggles with offense as frequently as the Reds do continues to struggle with offense game in and game out, and we have two guys mashing down in AAA, and it takes you 2 month, to bring them up, I mean, it's a joke. It's organizational malpractice. I'm happy they're up now because they're playing great. They're playing their tails off. Will Benson this weekend. This is per Lance McAllister. Thank you, Lance McAllister. Since his recall on May 10th in 8 games, the Reds are 5-3 during that stretch. He's 11 for 26 with 2 doubles, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, and a stolen base. He has 3 walks during that stretch and only 5 strikeouts. He's hitting .423, .483, 1.077, 1.560. He literally couldn't be playing any better. Is he going to finish like that play like that the rest of the year? Absolutely not. But the fact that we missed out on this for over a month, it's borderline disgraceful. And that's why I'm still angry. That's why today I'm not looking at it with sunshine and rainbows. I'm happy they beat the Guardians. I'm happy. I'm thrilled. They're 24-24. They're back to 500. They could have used that terrible momentum that they had coming into this series, gotten swept, and we would have been in a completely different space now. Terry Francona did a great job this weekend. The Reds did a great job this weekend. The pitching staff did a great job this weekend. All around, it was near perfect, as this team could possibly play. And I still look here, and we take on the Pirates tonight in the next 3 days, and I'm still concerned about what they are. I'm hoping they can be as consistent. And for the record, I did cancel the season right in the midst of bringing up Will Benson, not to give me a mulligan there, shout out to Sean Connor. But yeah, I'm still in the same wagon. This doesn't change my mind. It keeps me watching. It keeps me engaged. And for shout out to Jacob and I, but we've been saying that for as long as we possibly could this year. We want them to move that goalpost as far down the line as they possibly can. That's all I've wanted. If we're playing competitive baseball in mid-July, after the All-Star break, and we're getting to August and we're still competitive, that's all I've asked here. And if they can do that, they've done their job. They've accomplished their goal. The win total was 78.5. They weren't supposed to win the division. They weren't supposed to win the World Series. They weren't supposed to get to the playoffs. They aren't supposed to. They can change that narrative. They can absolutely change that narrative. I think Pearl said it this morning. She brought up that, maybe they're the Diamondbacks of a few years ago. Nobody expected that Diamondbacks team to get to a World Series. So there is that hope. There is that possibility that they bring when you sweep a team. But you have to stack series wins. You have to. A sweep is so misleading because you could lose the next 2 series 2-1, and you're still not that far out of it. But you're not taking that momentum and you're not using it. They have to be able to do that. They just got through the easiest stretch of the season with 2 series wins. 2 series wins. One of them is against a team that's borderline a AA team. The Colorado Rockies shouldn't be allowed to play baseball. So they took advantage there. But as for the Reds right now, yeah, you have an easy stretch. Pearl came in with stats today. How many games, the next few series, how many are against division opponents?
Oh, well, 4 out of the next 5 series that the Reds have are against NL Central opponents, and 2 of those 5 are against the first-place Cubs. So this is the tell. However they come out of this, maybe then you can put the nail in the coffin. But I don't think we need to yet. Let's just see how this pans out.
And that's a fair point. They control their destiny. Right now, they control their destiny. You have momentum. Let's see if they can use it. These are massive series. You can't afford this. The Cubs are really good. Do I expect to beat the Cubs? No. But I expect them to hold serve. And to the Reds' credit this year, I mean, they've been able to at least salvage something from these series. They haven't been swept a whole lot, if ever. Have they been swept yet this season?
No.
So it's, to their credit, they're fighting. But I need more. They need more to survive. And we'll see if Will Benson and re-signs are that spark.
Yeah, and again, to Pearl's point, I mean, right now the only non-division opponent that the Reds face for the rest of May and into June is the Royals coming up, but obviously 3 with the Pirates, which they start tonight. Nick Lodolo going to be on the mound for Game 1. Game 1 at Pittsburgh, 3 at Pittsburgh, and then they'll welcome in the Chicago Cubs to Great American Ballpark starting this Friday. Hunter Green, another throwing session today. The goal was to have him back by that Cubs series. Maybe not this Cubs series. I don't know if they're going to fast track him. I don't know if they're going to push him. I don't even know. Do you think he'll have a rehab start? Do you think that he'll get a rehab start somewhere? Or do you think that with how minor this was that he'll just be right back out there?
I'm hoping that he does, just so I can.
And are the rules? Maybe he has to. I don't know if the rules. I think you have to, if I'm not mistaken. But
I would want to see it just so everything's good. You don't need to come up here right away and force something that doesn't need to be forced. They need help. I mean, the Reds need help. They're 24-24. That's great. They still need their guys to be available and healthy. So,
As far as the Will Benson thing, as far as that goes with the way he's performed as of late, it's the trust. And let's put the trust for him off to the side for a minute. The lineup, it's not like that was a collective. I mean, you win 4 straight, you sweep a good team like the Guardians. That's a good team effort, right? You get great pitching. But the Reds have scored 19 runs over the last 4 games. 10 of those 19 runs have come due to Will Benson. You take him away, no one else is consistently hitting the ball the way he is. No one else is consistently driving in runs the way that he is right now. And is this Will Benson production something that we can continue to count on as fans? Is this Will Benson the Will Benson that Terry Francona can count on moving forward? That's the big question. I know you said that you trust him. I'm not going to go as hard in the paint. I don't trust him. I don't think he's this good. But I also think that this isn't the same impact if Elly's doing this. If Elly's responsible for 10 of your 19 runs over a 4-game stretch, I think I trust it more. We're still not seeing consistently enough the bigger names in this lineup consistently add to it. We keep talking about we need Austin Hayes. We keep talking about all the underwhelming additions in the offseason. We need them to be great. We keep talking about the guys from AAA, Reese Hines and Will Benson. We keep talking how they need to be great. This goes back to my point Friday. At a certain point, and Elly's been okay. Matt McClain has been bad collectively all season. He's been better as of late. Those guys have to be stars. And to Matt McClain's credit, he took a lot of accountability over the weekend. There's a quote with, from an article with Charlie Goldsmith saying, for us to be as good as what we're supposed to be, him and Elly have to be great, and they just haven't been. And Charlie wrote about how those two have been they've been okay at times. They just haven't been great enough for this team to win consistently. So Will Benson, this is fantastic. But I would feel better about it, too, if we saw a little bit more complimentary run production from some other pieces in that lineup. Because you take his 10 runs away, that's 9 runs in 4 games from everybody else. So that's the concern.
Let me ask you this. Will Benson or Jacob Hurtubise?
Matt McClain, step up.
But let me ask you this. Will Benson or Blake Dunn?
Oh, no, look, this isn't a debate. To me, it's not a debate. I'm with you.
My point
I'm not
to you
debating
is whether or
those
not you
other
trust
guys.
Will Benson's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because we've seen it.
Yep.
That's my thing is we've seen it. I've seen it with Matt McClain, limited time. I've seen it with Elly De La Cruz, larger time. I've seen it with Will Benson. You've seen it with some of these players. My question to you is, yes, of course the stars need to be better, 100%. But my question to you is if we had the answer to this test, and I keep bringing that up, if we have the answer to the test and you're willingly not using it, for God knows what reason, how is that okay? We got through the easiest stretch of the season with 2 series wins. The offense looked abysmal.
Yep.
Will Benson comes up and immediately is looking like the best player in the lineup. Reese Hines, one of the best players in the lineup.
But we've also, you said we've seen, and by the way, I'm a Will Benson guy. It may not seem like it this show. I am a Will Benson guy. But Pearl brought up the inconsistencies with him. And she's right. So when we've seen this, the reason Will Benson is still getting as many options as he is, continuing to be sent back down and called back up again, is because as great of a run as we've seen him go on, like 2 years ago in 2023, we did watch him in all of 2024, which was abysmal. I didn't like that they did call him up for one game. He did go 0 for 4. He struck out a lot, and then they just pulled the trigger on it again and sent him back down. I didn't like that they didn't give him a little bit more time there, obviously. But we've, as many great things as we've seen from Will Benson, we've also seen a lot of bad as well. So it's like you got to take the good with the bad with him. But my goodness, I hope this is the Will Benson. Like he fixes a lot of problems with this roster. He answers a lot of issues with this roster if that's the case, if this is him. Do I expect him to put up 10 RBIs every 4 games? I do not. But for him to be a presence in that lineup is huge because there's a lot of guys that have not consistently stepped up to be a presence in the lineup. If he could do that to spark this offense, which he's done the last 4 games, I think that's big, especially heading into this Pirates series.
The theme for the Reds this season has been gambling. It's been, when they get a double, you're rolling the dice, right?
Yep.
Will Benson's playing with house money right now. Matt McClain, respectfully, has been woeful. I mean, he's been non-existent. He's been borderline terrible. Elly De La Cruz, for the expectations that we have for him, he's underperformed. He's still a great baseball player. Nobody's saying he's not. He's just underperformed for what our expectation is and for what we need him to be.
Yeah, especially like 45 or whatever games into the season at this, almost 50 games into the season. Yeah, he's underperformed, if you will. Not been horrible, but underperformed, as you just said.
Our metric for Will Benson is be better than Blake Dunn and be better than Jacob Hurtubise.
It's like saying I need to be taller than a fifth grader. I think I can get that done sometimes.
The line for if Will Benson strikes out 30 straight times, doesn't get on base, he's 0 for 30 with 30 strikeouts, what he's providing me is still more than what Blake Dunn and Jacob Hurtubise did. And again, I know I'm making fun of those two guys, but I saw it last year when you bring up Bubba Thompson and Levi Jordan, and you have guys that again, I don't mean to just absolutely destroy these guys, but come on. I mean, we've seen what they can do, and what they can do is not very much. I've seen what Will Benson can do. I've seen, hell, Casey's number one moment as a Reds fan is a Will Benson home run, walk-off. We've seen stuff from Will Benson. I've seen stuff from Rhys Hines, which is why I don't understand it. Is it strikeouts? This team strikes out more than anybody. So what's our metric for hiding these guys away?
Yeah, that's the case.
I've never understood. Rhys Hines has done 45 times more than whatever CES has done. He's done 45 times more probably at this point. He's getting close to what Matt McClain's done. He's not there yet. We need them to be a part of the team. You need them to play. I'm not saying they got to play every day. They probably should at this point. But you have to have them available. They're playing with house money. They're playing well. You have to ride that momentum. You have to. I don't care if Will Benson's inconsistent. I don't care at this point. At the start of the season, I didn't want Will Benson up because I thought I'd seen, not enough, but I thought I'd seen him not elevate the Reds. And I thought the guys that we had on this roster at the time could elevate the Reds. Through 48 games this season, I know that the guys we had before him weren't elevating anything. So Will Benson has to be here and he has to contribute.
All right, this is Off the Bench. We are off and rolling here on a Monday. Again, the Reds have won 4 straight. They just are coming off of a sweep against the Cleveland Guardians, one of the hottest teams in the American League. The Reds now turn their attention towards the NL Central. They have 3 with the Pirates on the road. They return home this weekend against the Chicago Cubs for a 3-game series. They do have the Royals in between, another 6-game stretch where you will have the Cubs and, of course, the Brewers, who, the Reds always have success against the Brewers. But you are right, Pearl, this stretch coming up, and I feel like we do this a lot. I feel like we've already done this, hey, after next week, we'll know who they are. I kick this can down the road all the time. But when you have so many division opponents coming up, and you're going up against a team like the Brewers that you always struggle against, the Cubs are one of the hottest teams in baseball right now, and they're the team that you're chasing at sitting at the top of the division. This is a big stretch coming up for the Reds.